So a few days ago, investigative journalist Ken Klippenstein was one of the few people, in fact, I think at that point was like the first guy really, to actually post the hacked materials that came from the Trump campaign. All these other major news outlets who couldn't stop themselves from covering the Hillary Clinton email hack in 2016 and posting all of that information that, of course, became a massive scandal. They didn't want to do it for Trump. Like, no, we're not going to do it. Well, Klippenstein did it. Thank God he did it. Thank God he said, this isn't a left or right matter. This is material that the public needs to know about, even though all the other media outlets are out there saying like, well, we thought it really wasn't newsworthy. Turns out it was totally newsworthy because even though Klippenstein got suspended from Elon Musk's Twitter for posting this, which of course shows you this guy doesn't give a damn about free speech and anybody who says he does is a brain-dead moron. But we learned quite a lot about how pathetic the Trump campaign's vetting of J.D. Vance was. And before I get into how pathetic it was, let me take a minute to remind you all. I did a segment, I've done multiple segments actually, both here and at Ring of Fire over the last week, telling you that all of these analysts and all of these strategists and all of these media people have told us recently that prior to Biden dropping out, Trump's campaign was running great. Everything was perfect. It was a land of sunshine and roses and unicorns. And I've repeatedly reminded them that nope, the campaign was doing really bad. They had a convicted felon. They were not doing good. They were not raising money. And Biden was beating them in the polls up until that disastrous debate. And the reason I bring that up is because this story is actually more about how pathetic his campaign has always been and how wrong the media has always been about the campaign. But let me read you this. The work itself, and again, this is about the vetting of J.D. Vance. Like, do we pick him to be the running mate or not? The vetting itself is incomplete. The 271-page rundown on Vance is inexplicably missing Vance's now famous childless cat lady's comment from a 2021 interview with Tucker Carlson on Fox. The file does not include Vance's comments from 2016 in which he called Trump an idiot and privately compared him to Hitler. Like, those were very well-known statements from J.D. Vance. And they didn't even have that in a 271-page dossier. David Sanger, a veteran national security reporter for The Times, said last month that he didn't see anything in the opposition research that couldn't have been turned up by a bright college intern using Google, while another said there was barely anything there worth reporting on. It's basically an opposition dump and not a very good oppo dump at that, said one journalist who has seen the material. There's not a single allegation that you couldn't find with one click on the internet. It's not good work. Honestly, it's just not very interesting. Because the story isn't the story. The story is how bad the campaign is, how bad it's being run, how stupid these people are, and how not good they are at their jobs. That's the story. Most of y'all went to journalism school. I didn't. So how am I able to see what the actual story is and y'all are not like, oh, this is just not very interesting? Like the New York Times, Washington Post, who said this isn't very interesting. There's no story. The story is how they effed up. The story is that they didn't actually do any research. They likely sent a lower level staffer like, hey, get on the internet real quick and pull me up J.D. Vance's Wikipedia page. And then they just printed that out and they're like, well, here's our opposition research. Here's our vetting. Everything looks fine, I guess. And no, everything has not been fine. Vance has been a complete and total disaster for the Trump ticket. And they deserve every second of that misfortune. He is now the least popular vice presidential candidate in my lifetime. In fact, he's actually the lowest rated person running for office right now on the national ticket. So yeah, it's been bad. More comments just came out the other day from the Washington Post, where after the 2020 election, J.D. Vance said that Trump has delivered basically nothing for anybody. None of that was in the report, and all of it has been readily available to everyone with internet access for years. So again, the story is not necessarily these hacked materials. The story is how bad Trump's campaign is at literally doing anything. Hi everyone, this here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.